corner of this room is the actual Open Meeting Act made accessible to all members of the public for your reading. If you would, please, will you stand, join with us for the Pledge of Allegiance after a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll continue with roll call.
Coy.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Murin.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
Saunders. Here.
All right, under action, I would ask for approval of the consent agenda as was provided you.
So move, Your Honor. Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. If you would please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And as well, approval of the full agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion with a second to approve the full agenda. Again, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Before we get into the public hearing, we have had a request for a proclamation that I would like to read in. The proclamation is for Read Aloud to a Child Month. Whereas literacy is the fundamental building block of all learning and is essential to the growth and the success of every child in our city. And whereas reading to children enlarges their vocabulary and enhances their listening skills, thereby fostering intellectual growth and a more positive attitude toward reading. And whereas reading to a child is a simple and priceless act that benefits both adult and child, positively contributing to family literacy and strengthening the bond between a parent and child. And whereas when parents assume the responsibility for children's literacy, making a commitment to reading for 20 minutes a day, children become more healthy, resilient, and inquisitive. And whereas Read Aloud to Your Child for 20 minutes a day is a nationally recognized program that has been in existence for over 20 years. And whereas Read Aloud Norfolk, the Norfolk Public Library, Norfolk area schools, and other organizations representing teachers, parents, librarians, and concerned citizens advocate for reading aloud to children because it fosters healthy interaction between adults and children. And whereas reading aloud to children will enhance family literacy and the well-being of young people throughout our city, now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Fookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, by the power vested in me, do hereby proclaim November 2012 as Read Aloud to a Child Month in the City of Norfolk and the surrounding area, and I encourage all parents, teachers, librarians, and other caring adults to read aloud to a child. I'm going to bet you're here to accept this for us. Mark, I know all that you do is all about children and reading, and I can't thank you enough. I've had the opportunity to be with you on many of those occasions and appreciate the fact that you are so passionate about it and your dad.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move then into the public hearing. Public hearing tonight before the mayor and the city council to sit as a board of equalization to levy special assessments in the amount of $463.23 against property at 706 South A Street and in the amount of $463.23 against property at 307 South 2nd Street for mowing, litter removal, and other maintenance charges. With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn as the city council and reconvene as the Board of Equalization.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
I have a motion with a second. If you will please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Discussion on this?
This, as noted, is public hearing to levy the special assessments in the amount of $463.23 against both properties located at 706 South 8th and 307 South 2nd Street for the mowing, litter removal, and maintenance charges. The property owners were notified by certified mail of the completion of this work by the city. They did not complete the work, so the city went ahead and did the work, billed the property owners, and the billing is unpaid. That gives the city the opportunity to sit as a Board of Equalization and levy the assessments against the property, and that does stay with the property and accrues interest like a special assessment would. I would answer any questions.
Okay, as this is a public hearing, is there anyone that wants to speak to this or may have questions of this? If not, I will close the public hearing, and then we will need a motion to adjourn as a Board of Equalization,
So move. Second.
and we will reconvene then as the City Council. I will ask you to vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
With that, I would look for a motion for consideration of Resolution 2012-44 levying the special assessment at 706 South 8th.
I'd move Resolution 2012-44.
Second.
A motion with a second. Any discussion at all? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2012-44 is adopted.
As well, consideration of Resolution 2012-45 levying a special assessment against property at 307 South 2nd Street.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2012-45 is adopted.
All right, under regular agenda tonight, we ask for consideration of approval to purchase a replacement brush truck to be used by the Fire Division from Danco Emergency Equipment Company for $111,388. Scott, are you going to talk to us for this? And we might as well go right into, as well, approval to purchase a replacement side mount engine fire truck to be used by the Fire Division from Danco Emergency Equipment as well for $341,964,000. Clarify for us, if you will, Scott. I know there's been a lot of conversation about this.
I'd be glad to, Mayor and Council. This is basically the culmination of what's been an off and on committee assignment from the Fire Division for the last couple of years, refining all the plans and specifications for these trucks. They will replace trucks that, upon time of them being put into service, are 24 years old. These trucks are fully funded by the proceeds from the Rural Fire Protection District. Norfolk Fire and the City of Norfolk enjoy a wonderful partnership with the Rural Fire Board. They're very supportive of the needs of the division. As you recall, we recently signed a contract with them that extends our relationship forward for 12 years. Part of that agreement with them specifies when the apparatus need to be replaced. This happens to be two of those elements as the contract specifies. So we're very pleased with the companies chosen here tonight or being recommended tonight. The Rural Fire District's budget authority for this was these bids came in well under that, and they're very pleased with the price. They're very pleased with the companies that were solidified. We have met with the Rural Fire Board 3 different occasions over the last 2 years to look deeply into this project and to gain their support and approval as we move forward. That last meeting was this past Friday. They voted unanimously to support this recommendation and move forward to put before you tonight. So very pleased with the efforts of the Rural Fire District in partnering with us and the City of Norfolk to make this happen. So I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you all might have.
Scott, what would the useful lifespan of these be, you think?
I'd like to be able to say we can move forward another 20 or 25 years again. If they're taken care of properly and maintained, we should be able to do that. So these trucks have served us well, and they've just reached that point where maintenance and upkeep is difficult. So I would hope we can move forward in the same manner.
All right, thank you.
You got it.
Scott, I would imagine this is a pretty specialized industry that supplies these vehicles. The first bid, there was only 2 bidders, and the last one, there was only a single bidder. Is that usual from your experience?
Well, we invited several folks to participate in this process, and just in the various travels, members of the Fire Division that have been to various conferences and trade shows and so forth, there seemed to be a lot of interest in the industry. I know in talking to Gary Miller, there were other inquiries that came in. I was kind of surprised when we had bid opening that there weren't more that had submitted, but they were certainly offered that opportunity by written invitation to come in and submit a bid for us. But for whatever reason, they didn't choose to on this pumper. If you look at our building, there's trucks built from all kinds of apparatus dealers throughout the country. So we haven't always been exclusively a Smeal Danco Fire Division by any means. They certainly do have some advantage because they're close by. They're an hour away from serviceability and maintenance on the trucks, and they've been a good partner with us in the past, but certainly not an exclusive partner. So I guess I was a bit surprised that there weren't other bids, but they were all given that opportunity. So fortunately, as I mentioned, the good part of that was the resulting numbers came in very favorably and way under our estimate. So we're pleased with that part of it, I guess. So,
Thank you.
Scott, do these two pieces of equipment, being 24 years newer, do they offer any savings on other things you won't have to buy because they're now included, with a newer piece of equipment? If you follow what I'm trying to say.
well, these two particular trucks are being outfitted with a very sophisticated, the most recent technology in the area of foam. There's a high expansion foam systems that are integrated into these two trucks that will give us advantage in fighting fires, extend your water supply greatly, especially in the rural areas. So that's something that you can buy as an external element or add-on features or portable features that can be worked in conjunction with the fire truck. These will be built into and part of the apparatus from day one. So that's something that was a significant expense. Added quite a bit of value to the cost of the fire trucks, but as presented to the rural fire board, they felt those were necessary features in today's technology in today's world that we should simply have to provide the best equipment possible going forward. So we're pleased with the level of technology that's included in these trucks that just wasn't available in the market before. So
Okay. Thank you.
I got one question. On the pumper and the brush truck, when you replace those, do the trucks that, after they're decommissioned, obviously, by Norfolk, what happens to those trucks? They get sold in the open market, and then the proceeds from those trucks, what do we...
Excellent question. Excellent question, Councilman. I would submit to you that the answer to that's probably different every time. In our recent meeting with the Rural Fire Board, we asked them if they had a particular request on how those would be disposed on the backside. We're looking possibly in the notion of making those trucks available to any of our rural or area mutual aid towns that could benefit from having those at a reduced price, a very, very favorable price, to kind of keep those in the family and in the neighborhood close by and let them benefit from those. I'd spoken to the city administrator about that. It was very favorable with him. The rural board thought that was a great idea, and so we'll be working on that moving forward. So either gifted at a very, very free or reduced price. The rural board didn't seem to have any real specific expectation on the proceeds of that. I told them I'd make whatever dollars that we did receive made available, and we'd negotiate the disposition of those, either all to them, all to us, or split 50-50. So I will say these trucks, upon delivery, will become titled in the property of the city of Norfolk pursuant to our contract. That's something that is a little bit different than in the past. Those remained separate and distinctly owned pieces of property from the Rural Fire Board. The new contract gives us possession of those upon delivery, so they will be city of Norfolk assets going forward. The ones that we're taking out of service were technically paid for wholly by their funds during a time when they would have been their property. So just cooperatively in a courteous manner, we'll make a joint agreement on how we dispose of those, and certainly make you all aware of what we decide to do. So.
Any other questions at all for Scott? Okay. Thanks for your explanation, Scott. I think it cleared up probably a lot of conversation. So with that, I'd ask for consideration of approval to purchase the replacement brush truck.
So move, Your Honor.
Second.
A motion with a second. No further discussion. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
And with that, we'll ask for consideration of approval to purchase the replacement side mount engine fire truck. Do I have a motion?
So move, Your Honor.
Second?
Motion with a second. Please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative.
Moving on for consideration of Resolution 2012-46, approving an application to the Nebraska Department of Economic Development for a Community Development Block Grant in the amount of $10,500 of CDBG funds to complete a necessary assessment, comprehensive revitalization strategy for targeted areas of the city of Norfolk.
Your Honor, I'd introduce Resolution 2012-46.
Second.
All right. For discussion here is that you, Beth?
That's,
Or is-
Tom's second.
Well, Tom, I saw you earlier in your sweats, I thought.
Tom Higginbotham, Director of the Economic Development District. Tom Higginbotham, Director of the Economic Development District. If there's any questions about this, I can answer those. I believe at your last meeting you had the actual public hearing on this grant, so this is just the formality resolution authorizing the mayor to sign her life away.
Any questions or discussion that you want? Tom, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. If no further discussion, then, council, I would ask that you vote.
All councilpersons voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2012-46 is adopted.
We will move then to consideration of approval of ordinance number 5234, amending section 24-164A of the City Code to allow parking on the north side of the portion of West Omaha Avenue that serves as an access road to Ballcraft Division of Nucor Corporation.
Where are we at?
Your Honor, I'd introduce ordinance 5234 on first reading.
Second that, Your Honor.
All right. Chief, are you going to come in and talk to us on this, please?
Good evening, Mayor, Your Honor. Are we on now? Good evening. The management of Volcraft has requested that parking be restricted on the south side of Omaha Avenue, on that area of property between their property and Morrissey Motors. It actually acts as an access road for getting access to their security building there by their trucks. And what they have found that periodically when there's an event at Morrissey Motors, when people come, their customers, they'll park on both sides of the street, and then their semi-tractor trailers have a difficult time getting through there to get in and out of Volcraft. Both Morrissey Motors and Volcraft are in agreement to restrict the parking on the south side right next to the Morrissey Motor property and allow parking on the north side. Current city code, as it's worded, restricts parking on Omaha Avenue from east city limits to west city limits, but this particular portion has never been signed. And so what we will do is we will sign it now to reflect what this revision would be, and we believe that that will take care of that entrance and exit issues for those trucks.
Okay. Questions for Chief at all? All right. If no further discussion, short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-164 of the official city code to allow parking on a portion of West Omaha Avenue, which serves as an access road to Ballcraft Division of Nucor Corporation, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Thank you. If you will please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5234 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I would move that we suspend the rules and pass ordinance number 5234 on second and third reading.
Second.
You heard the motion with a request to suspend reading, second and third reading. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5234 carries on second and third readings.
Next would be consideration of resolution number 2012-47, rescinding resolution number 2012-42 related to the southeast corner of 13th Street and Omaha Avenue, to revise the legal description requiring the incorporation of a development concept and future redevelopment plans for the area, referring to the area as southeast corner of 13th Street and Omaha Avenue and declaring the area blighted and substandard.
Your Honor, I offer Resolution 2012-47.
With that, Courtney, do you want to come up and give us
Second
a
that.
little... I'm sorry, I thought we had one down here.
Okay.
Okay?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Thanks for having me Essentially, this resolution is rescinding one that you entered on October 15th, declaring the southeast corner of 13th Street and Omaha Avenue as blighted and substandard. And the reason that we're asking for you to rescind it and replace it with this resolution is because the legal description has been cleaned up a bit. We're also taking the opportunity in resolution number 2012-47 to incorporate a development concept for future development of the area. So this resolution, in addition to correcting the legal description and designating this area as blighted and substandard, would require any future redevelopment plans submitted to conform with that attached development concept. And the primary feature of that development concept is a road that would link the two access points from Highway 275. So essentially down 11th Street, creating a loop coming down by some of the southern businesses and then back up to 275, as you'd see in the attachment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of the council? Okay. Thanks, Courtney.
Thank you.
Any further discussion at all, council? If not, then I would ask that you vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, Resolution 2012-47 is adopted.
And lastly is consideration of ordinance number 5235, amending section 24-111 of the City Code to add 24th Street from Norfolk Avenue to Taylor Avenue as a school zone with a 20-mile-per-hour zone when children are present, and to remove Benjamin Avenue from Charlotte Drive to Campus Drive, along with 6th Street from Park Avenue to Phillip Avenue.
Your Honor, I would move consideration of ordinance 5235.
Second.
We have a motion with a second. Discussion on this. Chief, do you want to introduce this for us too, or advise us what's going on here?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. This proposed amendment attempts to accomplish several things. The first is that we had received a request from a citizen to look at 24th Street near the Norfolk Catholic School area campus there, to consider having that established as a school zone where we would require reduced speed limits for when students or children are present. We evaluated that. We talked to the principal there at Norfolk Catholic. They said that they felt that they were doing quite a bit to ensure the safety of their kids, but that anything additionally would certainly be appreciated. And so, having looked at that, we would recommend that we go ahead and establish that school zone there. While we were doing this, there was some discussion about other areas where there were designations for school zones, but actually were they really needed. One of them was on South 6th Street, where there used to be a school related facility there with students, but that's no longer being used for students now. And so we would recommend that that be removed as a school zone. Also on Benjamin Avenue, where Hillview and Angus intersect with Benjamin there. Years ago, there was just a mid-block light that could be actuated by a pedestrian, and so that was designated as a school zone. Now there's a fully functioning traffic light there at that intersection with a pedestrian actuated signal there to allow pedestrians to cross. So there's really no need to have that designated as school zone any longer, and so we would recommend that that be taken off of our code as a designated school zone. So we would like to add one and remove two. Hopefully that provides some economy of whatever. Be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for you?
Not so sure how that works.
Okay, thanks for the clarification. I appreciate that. Any discussion by this council at all? If not, then a short title, Beth.
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend Section 24-111 of the official city code to create a speed zone on 24th Street from Norfolk Avenue to Taylor Avenue, to remove the speed zones on 6th Street and Benjamin Avenue, respectively, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
All right, with that, if you'd please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5235 carries on first reading.
Your Honor, I move we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5235 on second and third.
Second that, Your Honor.
We have a motion with a couple seconds to suspend on second and third. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council members voting in the affirmative, ordinance 5235 carries on second and third.
All right, and you'll note that on your agenda, there's a notation here for a 2012 snow and ice plan. Actually, there's just the information that's been provided to you. No one here to speak on that, I guess. So unless anyone has any questions about it.
Your Honor, I had one question with that. Will this be put on, these maps be put on the website?
We can have that done, I believe, so, is Jim here?
Jim?
They were last year.
Okay,
Very good.
thank you.
Any other questions that you might have? If not, as heard, it will appear out there on the website. Jim, thank you. And with that, nothing else on there, we are adjourned.
Yeah, I know. It was like kind of good, too. He'd cover the same thing. You knew that you had but